One man who knows all about it is John Watson.
Yes, Matt, Monza, well, as I said all weekend, one of my favourite circuits, but really it's the excitement of the place, the passion, the tifosi here, the people that come to support Ferrari. It just makes it so emotional. You can almost cut the emotion with a knife and take it home with you in your suitcase. But Monza is one of the fastest circuits on the calendar. But of course we've got three slow chicanes. The first chicane after the start-finish line has got new curbing, and that's a very sharply serrated edge to the curbing, and we're seeing most of the drivers staying off it. Occasionally Berger and one or two others are trying to use it, but I don't think it's going to be any help to them. Then the next chicane, that wasp will go away, is the Campari chicane. Again, a very slow left and right, and we again saw Berger trying to shortcut it again, not really gaining anything by doing it. That leads into the two wonderful Lesmo corners that I think are the most demanding corners on the Monza circuit. Then final chicane is the Ascari, and that is really a proper chicane. It's a fast fourth gear corner, and we have seen excitement on the exit of the corner. Alesi and Nakajima yesterday got really sideways on the exit, so they've got to watch out for that. And then it's the final run down to the Parabolica, this long right-hand corner that leads onto the pit straight. About 120 miles an hour entering it, but it's a very, very long exit, and at the very end of the corner they're doing about 170 miles an hour, so that's some corner. And then it's the charge down to the start-finish line, and they're crossing that at about 190 miles an hour. A fabulous circuit, a great weekend, and for me, well, it's Italy, it's pasta, passion, wonderful.
Thanks very much, John. We'll see you and your Wasp later on. Well, as we've said earlier, Monza is a hotbed of gossip at this time of the season, and one of the big talking points is whether Ferrari will name their new driver. To get the latest on that and the rest of the pit lane news, let's join Andrew Marriott.
Yes, Matt, well, continued speculation about who Cesare Fiorio will sign to drive alongside Alan Prost for the 1991 season. A few new names coming to the hat, but no concrete news coming out of the team at all. Concrete news, though, from the Benetton team, 2 more years of sponsorship from Autopolis, and the new circuit now open, and Nelson Piquet has been driving there. And what was it like?
It's a beautiful circuit, very, very safe, very, very nice to drive, full of interesting parts, up and downs, and I like very much. I really could not believe the work being done, not only the circuit, but also the facilities, everything, you know. We was there for 2 days. In the pre-opening, it was around 20,000 young Japanese, and they have facility. They have a lot of small go-karts for everybody go around the circuit. They have a look, and unbelievable, very good organization and fantastic work done.
Do you think it will be the home of the Japanese Grand Prix in the future?
I don't know, it's a matter of organization. I think they deserve, because they did something that is nowhere in the world.
2 ex-Ferrari drivers I spotted in the paddock, Rene Arnoux, but first Stefan Johansson. I talked to him about his future plans.
Well, I've been spending most of this year just really investigating on what the possibilities are in the different categories of racing, you know, as to what to do in my career next, really. I spent 2 weeks in America to watch the races there just before I came here, and Group C and also Formula 1, and I guess I've got to make a decision within about the next 2 weeks which direction I should go, really.
You've got offers on the table, have you?
Yes, I've got a few opportunities, yeah.
Well, we hope to see you back in Formula 1.
I hope so too.
Rene Arnoux, the first time in the Monza paddock, not driving for, well, over 10 years. How's it feel?
I stay well. I am very happy to stay there, to see the car, my friend, each driver. And I think I want to drive if I have a good possibility, but now in Formula 1 we have only 8 cars for winning, and if I come back it's for winning, and I think for me is maybe I change, I drive maybe in Group C, or I have some position in IndyCar also, but I don't know exactly what I decide for the moment.
Because a lot of us thought that you would definitely be driving in sports cars this year, and we thought maybe you'd be racing even next weekend in Canada for Peugeot, but that's not happened, has it?
I spoke with Peugeot at the beginning of this year, and Peugeot decided to take Rosberg for driving the car. It depends next year. I don't know for the second car. We have always small possibility. I am interesting to drive with Peugeot because it's a very good team in the sport cars. But I have also a very nice, very interesting possibility to drive in IndyCar, but wait and see. I don't know exactly my decision.
The news for the Tyrrell team that joining the board of directors is their designer, Dr. Harvey Postlethwaite, an ex-Ferrari employee, incidentally, and he is the only non-member of the Tyrrell family on the board. Congratulations. And this is a new face we may see in Formula One next year, Paul Belmondo, son of the actor. He may be driving a second Ocella. Oliver Griard there, giving him plenty of information about the car. Very much a heartthrob in France, Paul Belmondo. Backfield.
Well, that's the latest news. Now, with a circuit as old and historic as Monza, there are, of course, many tragedies to recall. It's the place where many great drivers perished. One of them meant a lot to Andrew Marriott.
A small tribute to a great man. 20 years ago this weekend, one of the world's greatest drivers in my book, Jochen Rindt, crashed here behind me at the Parabolica and perished as a result of the accident. He'd amassed so many points in that year's World Championship that he became the first and only posthumous world champion. Who better to pay a tribute to him than Jackie Stewart?
A great friend and a great racing driver. We lived a few hundred metres apart. We grew up together in motor racing from Formula 3 to Formula 2, and particularly in Formula 2. My children and his children, our least child, Natasha, grew up all at the same age at the same time. We stayed close as a family, but clearly without Jochen. One of my best races ever was against Jochen Rindt at the British Grand Prix in 1969, probably one of the great classics of modern Grand Prix history in a way, a great battle that we had together. He was clean, he was well mannered in a racetrack, he was a gentleman. He was a fantastic Austrian. He brought the country more fame and recognition than they had ever had in their history. And of course Niki Lauda was to follow on. Jochen just was a very nice man, great fun lover, great skier, a great friend. So that day 20 years ago will live forever in my mind. And of course, as I say, I'm still very friendly with Nina and with Natasha. So this weekend has a very special meaning for me.
And Heinz, Jochen really was the foundation of Austria as a major motorsporting nation.
Sure, he was a pioneer because he knew the sport was dominated by Great Britain. All the drivers, all the teams except Ferrari were British, and he thought, I get into this and I beat them and I can be better than anybody else, no respect, and he just did it. And suddenly it all happened at once in Austria. 2 racetracks, Österreich-Ring and Salzburg-Ring, motor racing magazines, television started to do Grand Prix races, Jochen was there. It was so exotic and it was so exciting, and it was really a big period of a pioneer, which Jochen really was. And without him, I am sure Niki and Gerhard would have had it that much more difficult than they have.
Jochen Rindt, truly one of the greats of motor racing.
Welcome back to Monza, halfway through this final qualifying session for the Italian Grand Prix. Several cars out there at the moment, but nobody appearing to be on a quick one.
Well, we've got Nigel Mansell and Nelson Piquet. They've just gone out. They're having their first exploratory laps. They know the situation. Senna's just gone out and come straight back in again. Berger's improved by 2/10. Prost by a minute amount. So Nigel Mansell really is looking to get into the 22s to get onto the front row of the grid to join Ayrton Senna, preferably to take Ayrton Senna's pole position.
One little bit of shuffling amongst the top 10. Sandro Nannini has improved to 1:24.583, and that puts him just ahead of his teammate Nelson Piquet. Current situation: Senna and Berger, Mansell and Prost, Boutsen, Alesi, Patrese, Nannini, Piquet and Warwick. Warwick hasn't been out yet, in fact, John. Donnelly has, and Donnelly has improved, but he remains in the 11th spot. Indeed, he was 12th yesterday, so he's just vaulted ahead of Eric Bernard.
The thing I find amazing is the man who is really the current driver in most people's minds, John Alesi, is in sixth spot with his Tyrrell Ford. And remember that this Ford engine, this V8 Cosworth-based engine, has got only about 620 horsepower, yet Alesi is doing absolute miracles with it, and he's been out already today. He almost equaled the time he did yesterday, 1:24.159. He's literally, well, you couldn't even tell the difference in time, it's so close. So Alesi really trying to get into the 23s. He believes it's possible, certainly the team feel it's possible, I feel it's possible. He really ought to have done it yesterday, but on the lap that it looked like it was going to happen, he just ran that little bit too wide coming out of a chicane and ended up running over the curb. But here Nigel Mansell completing his first flying lap. Can he improve? Can he get onto the front row? Well, not with this time, he's not going to. 1:23.719 isn't going to do anything to improve Nigel. That's 0.6 of a second slower than he did yesterday. So he may have to go back into the pits like Alan Prost and rethink what setup am I going to use. I've used one set of qualifying tyres, I've only got one set left. That's a little bit of a problem now for both Ferrari drivers, because neither has improved on yesterday's time. They've got one set of qualifying tyres left, and it's a bit of a gamble as to what they're going to do.
A huge crowd here at Monza assembled, hoping to see that Ferrari victory. Ayrton Senna watches and waits. He's just done one exploratory lap, come back in, new engine fitted to his car. It seems there are some problems there.
Well, I think with any new engine, you want to go out and you want to set it up properly. You don't want to go out and commit yourself to a qualifying lap and then find that just the very fine detail on the car is not quite right. But the guy there polishing Senna's helmet isn't actually just any member of the McLaren team. He is. Well, there's Michele Alboreto in the gravel trap. That's the third chicane. He slipped off, probably under braking, coming in a little bit too quickly. Maybe we'll get a chance to see that. Alboreto stalled the engine, I would suspect. Yes, and who's that one of the Lamborghinis? Can't quite tell whether that's Bernardo Suzuki. At Suzuki, you can see the red marks on the back of the wing. Aguri Suzuki's had a couple of trips across the gravel trap. He did it yesterday. He's got well and truly, well, beached, I think, the best expression. He's going to get out of the car. They'll put a tow rope onto that car. I would suspect, looking at it, that's the first chicane. Well, Michele's got the engine going again. Brave Marshall's pushing that car out of the way. Pulling Suzuki's, or attempting to pull Suzuki's car out of that gravel trap. It's a fairly frequently visited gravel trap, and of course the last thing you want to do is leave a car. Well, here we're going to watch it. Lost it under braking, very simply. Too much braking in the rear, a little bit of low-level flying. Well, that was a fairly exciting little trip for Suzuki. I think he's quite lucky the car didn't take a bite when it came down into that gravel trap and turn over. I suspect there's a fair bit of damage to the underbody of the car as well. The carbon fibre underbody then is attached directly to the chassis, so that car will be taken back to the pits at the end of practice and stripped down, and goodness knows what they're going to find, what damage will be done to the car. Prost here. Now he's coming up to the penultimate corner before the start-finish line. Again, going slowly, but he'll be picking up speed now. Listen to that Ferrari V12 engine scream up to nearly 14,000 RPM. Those 12 little pistons going up and down like a fiddler's elbow.
What you were really saying, John, is that the tyres have a life of perhaps 2.5 miles and not 3.
Indeed, the tyre probably, a qualifying tyre around Monza, probably is lost its optimum performance at the point where the cars are coming out of that third chicane. So what the driver does between there and the start-finish line is crucial. And of course, you get that long parabolica corner, and there you need grip, because it's the acceleration you pick up through that corner that really will determine your terminal speed going across that start-finish line. So conservation of the tyres, even on these explosive qualifying laps, really is important. And it is drivers like Prost and Senna. These guys are very intelligent race drivers. They're not morons. These are bright guys. They're not at the front all the time just because they happen to be there. They ensure they're there all the time.
They're the best in the world.
Absolutely. Alex Caffey now going through the chicane. He's got Prost behind him. Let's hope he can get out of the way as he did for Patrese earlier in the session. Yes, he has. No problem for Prost.
Prost, a very big fan of Alex Caffey, of course. There was some talk that he was trying to get him into the Ferrari team. Caffey denies that emphatically as Prost continues on his way. The yellow flashes on the wings of the Ferrari, making it easy for us to recognise that car.
And Prost, absolutely adamant that he wants to be in the front row of the grid here for the Italian Grand Prix. Well, he's in the 22s finally.
22.9, he goes on to the front row of the grid, and a Ferrari is back on the front row of the grid. Alan Prost, a great performance. So a sensational lap from Alan Prost puts him on the pole, just that fraction quicker than Ayrton Senna. The crowd have just heard about it over the PA system, and they have risen to their feet as a man and cheered Monza loud.
Suddenly they seem to love Alan Prost. It's amazing, really, in Monza. That's what makes the place so exciting. Just the people, the power, the tifosi, they're so emotional. Alan Prost may not be their favourite Ferrari driver, but because suddenly he's on pole, well, they're just taking him to their hearts. They love the man now. But look at John Alesi, look at him climbing all over those curves. First chicane, Alesi having a second bite of his qualifying cherry, and now we might get a chance to see what this little man is made of. And I mean, he drives with such a free and open spirit. It's just, I think it's fantastic to watch. It's so exciting. He uses the curve, he uses every part of the racetrack. His Tyrrell Ford, of course, will be thoroughly gone over tonight when he gets back to the pits. Alesi on the qualifying tyre, that's a brave move. I know, I think it was Dalmas or Tarquini, I couldn't quite see, moved out of his way to go through there without wavering, without lifting. That's 160 mile an hour through the second Lesmo, and a corner where really, with the light aerodynamic download the Tyrrell is running, it's real fingertip stuff.
Yes, in fact, he just threw up a puff of dust.
Oh, he did it again! That's exactly what he did yesterday, and he's had to back out of the throttle. That was almost worse than what he did yesterday. Alesi really absolutely on the limit.
On the limit, or even over it. Jean Alesi from Avignon. And that really has spoiled his lap, John.
Yes, it did. And look at how the car sliding all over the place, squirming as he got the power on. When he's lost so much time, of course, 24.2, it's 0.7 of a second slower than his first qualifying attempt. The guy is just trying so hard. He lost it all on the third chicane. That spoiled that lap. But I have to say, I'm not convinced it would have been as quick as his first qualifying lap. Let's see it again, coming through the third chicane. He lets the car run too wide, climbing up that, and look, suddenly the car snaps to the right. Now that barrier on the right gets awfully close to the car at the speed Alesi's travelling at.
Seemed to snap it round as it came off that high curbing.
Yes, it's where the car drops down off the curbing, it gets a nasty kick, and that kick is to the right when you don't want it. You want to go at least straight, if not that, go left, but that's twice Alesi's done it in both sessions, Friday and Saturday afternoon. Berger hoping to resurrect something from his second set of qualifying tyres. He's got a clear road, and Gerhardt giving it a full 14,000 RPM. Qualifying chip in his V10 Honda engine. That's an electronic tuning device, let's say, which basically allows more fuel to go into the engine. It's not something they would use in the race because with the increase in revs, well, Berger having to contend with another car in the way. Fortunately, it's not too close to him. He might get away with what he has. He's got clear of the circuit, clear of the corner. And that looks reasonable for Berger because he was out of the chicane well under the minute. So now it's just down to this final corner. Can Gerhard Berger get back onto the front row of the grid to join his teammate Ayrton Senna? Coming out of the parabolica, up into sixth gear, 170, 180, 190 miles an hour as he crosses the start-finish line, 22.936.
Yes, he does, and he bumps Senna off the front row of the grid in the process.
And he is only 1,000th of a second slower than Alan Prost.
And Senna, with just 5 minutes to go, this could be his first flying lap. He has not yet done a flying lap.
Well, Senna left his pole-winning time from Friday until quite late in the session. He had problems this morning. They had to change the engine in his race car. So now Senna waiting till the end, till everybody else has gone and done their qualifying laps. Hopefully he will have a clear lap. And the style which he's been developing this year on these qualifying laps is much less frantic than it used to be. Watching him years ago, particularly in the days of the turbo, it was actually really frightening. Some of the things, some of the antics, the angles, the attack he put into his driving really took my breath away. But now he's evolved this extremely effective, smooth style of qualifying, and 57.5 seconds at the exit is good. So maybe Berger is going to steal that pole position away from Alan Prost. I think he's going to be back on the front row anyway, but we're going to have to wait another 12-15 seconds till he gets around Parabolica and see. But so far the lap looks absolutely immaculate. In fact, I have to say it looked slow, but that to me is an indication that this is a good lap.
22.
What did I tell you? 22.533. Senna back on pole, and didn't it look slow?
And now there's only 2 minutes remaining. It's unlikely if anyone has an answer for that, and that will be the 49th pole position.
Look at the glum look on the Ferrari faces. All their glory and all their thunder has been snatched away by that man Ayrton Senna. In the dying minutes of qualifying, he's done it again. 49th pole. He's another miracle maker. I tell you, the guy is fantastic.
Well, final qualifying now over. Let's look at the full list of times. Ayrton Senna on the pole, a sensational 1:22.533. Alongside him, Alan Prost, 1:22.935. Third fastest, Gerhard Berger, 1:22.936. Alongside Berger, Nigel Mansell didn't improve, 1:23.141. And then that sensational time from Jean Alesi, 1:23.526 in the Tyrrell Ford, and alongside him Thierry Boutsen, 1:23.984. Seventh fastest Riccardo Patrese, 1:24.253, and then Sandro Nannini, 1:24.583, followed by his Benetton teammate Nelson Piquet, 1:24.699. Rounding out the top 10, Mauricio Gugelmin, improving in the Leighton House, 1:25.556. Then we've got 3 Lamborghini powered cars, Donnelly, Warwick and Bernard, 14th Satoru Nakajima, 15th Martini, 16th Capelli, 17th Modena, those 3 Italians together. Then Suzuki, Pirro with Alio 20th, 21st Alex Caffi, 22nd Alboreto, then it's Brouillard, Dalmas, De Cesaris and Larini. They're the qualifiers. The 4 that didn't make it, the go-home brigade, Tarquini, Barilla, David Brabham and Bertrand Gasher. So Senna's 49th pole position achieved in the closing minutes of qualifying. Achieved that way because all day he had been hampered by various engine problems. But down in the press room, Senna was telling the assembled masses what his race strategy would be for Sunday's race. Would he be going for a victory or would he just be cruising?
No. I think when you are racing a championship like this and when you are so committed to victory, you have to go for victory at this stage of the championship. You're not going for points anymore. And I'm committed to it, so I'm gonna give everything I have tomorrow to get the car right in the morning. That's gonna determine the race result. What I get done in the morning is gonna determine the afternoon result. I am 100% sure of that. So I'll try my very best to get the car right in the morning, and if we manage to do in the afternoon, it's a question of getting the start right, question of using your tires properly, your brakes, the engine, the pace in the race to be a good average, not a peak pace with quick and then going down, really have a good average. Careful with overtaking maneuvers here with back markers, and see what the others can do, of course, in the meantime, what pace they can go, and if they have no reliability problems too. And of course my fight is direct link with Prost, and my race strategy is direct link with his chance of doing well. So it's gonna be a good game tomorrow.
Well, that's very nearly all we have time for on day 2 of Eurosport's coverage of the Italian Grand Prix here at Monza. Before we go, I'd just like to ask John Watson whether he thinks after a performance like today's there's any chance that Ayrton Senna will be caught.
Thanks, Matt. Well, of course, there's always a chance he'll be caught, but Ayrton Senna's always been very impressive at Monza. Although over the last 3 years, he hasn't won the race. In '87 in the Lotus, he nearly got there but didn't make it. '88, he had that collision with Schlesser in the Williams down to the first chicane. And then last year, of course, he blew up in the middle of the Parabolica corner. So he is looking to 1990 to set to rights those 3 lean years. But of course, Alan Prost is never ever to be underestimated. And the Ferrari at Monza, well, there's everything